Hello everyone! So welcome back to my Bookmas 2019 series. This is going to be day 7 and I am finally doing a Christmas tag. So this one's going to be the Christmas song book tag. It was originally made by Haley in Bookland. I was not tagged, but I still wanted to do it, so yeah. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. Now the question derived from that song is, name a villainous character you couldn't help but love. So I'm going to go with Artemis Fowl. Yes, Artemis is the protagonist of the series, but he kind of is the villain in the first book, and he never totally loses his villainous touch, at least not in the 7 books that I have read. I have yet to finish the series, so I'm not counting book 8. He is a 12-year-old evil mastermind in this book, which he is very open about. But I also find him really lovable. He cares so much about everything he does, and also he's just so snarky. It's great. And yeah, he is very, very loyal to the people he cares about. So yeah, Artemis. Although honorable mention to Kylo Ren, because there's novelizations of the movies, I'm counting Star Wars sequel trilogy in this, because I also really like Kylo Ren. Question number 2 is, All I Want for Christmas Is You. Which book do you most hope to see under your Christmas tree? I'm going to go with the prequel to this book. This is Inside Prince Caspian by Devin Brown. It's kind of half devotional, half analysis, but it has a ton of really, really interesting information that really enhanced, for me, the story of Prince Caspian. I really want to read its prequel, which is Inside Narnia, A Guide to Exploring the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, because if it's anything like this, which I have heard it is, it's going to be just fascinating. There's also a sequel, but I would prefer to read them in order. I found this one for like $1 at a library book sale, which was so nice. Question number 3 is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Name a character who overcomes major obstacles and learns to believe in themselves. Now, I was thinking about going with Percy Jackson because he does deal with a ton of stuff, up to and including going on highly dangerous quests at the age of 12. But I decided to go instead with the main character from this book, What Do You Do with an Idea? It is a children's book. It is adorable. It's all about having an idea and not knowing what to do with this idea, but it's growing in your mind and you can't let it go, and some of the obstacles that you'll face with that, but why it's worth going on anyway. And oh my goodness, it's so cute. I would totally recommend reading this book, even if you don't have kids or never interact with kids. This book is just lovely, especially if you're an artist of any kind. So yeah, it's What Do You Do with an Idea by Kobe Yamada. I apologize if I mispronounced that name. And number 4 is Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Which character do you think would be on the top of the naughty list? Now, if we're excluding actual villains from books where there are, you know, all kinds of lovely people, Sauron for example, I am going to go with Artemis Fowl because, as I previously said, he's a bit of an evil genius. He is a professional forger. He steals from people all the time. Like, yeah, he breaks a lot of laws. So I'm going to go with Artemis. And the other half of this question is, what character do you think would be on the top of the nice list? I'm going to go with Lucy Pevensey from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and all of its sequels. Yes, its prequel doesn't have Lucy, so sequels. She's just such a kind, lovely character, and she just seems like she'd be a really nice person to spend time with, although honorable mention to Beth March from Little Women as well. Number 5, Frosty the Snowman. Which book just melts your heart? I'm going to do 2 answers because can. First off, we have Runaway Ralph by Beverly Cleary, as well as its prequel, The Mouse and the Motorcycle. This is a book that my dad read to me a lot growing up. I believe this is actually his copy from when he was a kid, and it's adorable. I love this book. It's just the story of this mouse going out to discover himself and learning to cope with the world. And yes, he does ride a motorcycle, which is much cuter than it sounds. Actually, it just sounds adorable. And the other one, which is probably my true answer, because I remember this thing from when I was a baby. That is the Christmas Mouse. This thing is so cute. It's about a little mouse who just wants to help his family get ready for Christmas, but he's too small. So he's constantly going to everyone asking, like, what can I do? Can I help you with your job? And it's always, he's too little for all of them. So it's about him finding a way to help get ready for Christmas. Number 6, Feliz Navidad. Choose a book that takes place in a country other than your own. This one, I have so many options. I'm Canadian, and while we do have some lovely books that take place in Canada, there's a ton of books that don't. Pretty much everything I've listed so far in this video would fit. I thought about including Artemis Fowl because it takes place all over the place, including the center of the earth, Russia, obviously Ireland, because that's where Artemis is from. It takes place in England. There is some time in the States, like it's all over the place, but I've already talked about it multiple times, so what can you do? I also thought about doing the Graveyard Book because it takes place in Britain. But again, I talk about that one way too much on this channel. So I decided to go with one of my favorites that I almost never discuss on this channel, and that is Jane Eyre. This one is, of course, all in England, and it is absolutely amazing. I love how gothic and mysterious it is at times, but it's also very relatable. I love the character of Jane. She's, for me, a very, very inspirational character, which I really like. And it's just cool seeing the way her character grows and changes throughout the course of the book, because while this book is often considered a romance, it's more a coming-of-age story. I think it's called Bildungsroman. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's been a while since I actually heard that phrase, so yeah. But yeah, this book, it does have romance in it, but it's not a romance. Number 7, it's the most wonderful time of the year. Which book do you use to spread Christmas joy? Now, there's 2 options I could give for this one. Probably the one that I would connect with other people the most is A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I love that story. But it's not really one that I trace back to my early childhood, which is one thing that I use to kind of link with books with Christmas. So I'm going to go instead with The Christmas Miracle of Jonathan Toomey. It's so beautiful. In some ways it actually almost reminds me a little bit of A Christmas Carol. It has that same idea of someone who hates Christmas learning to love it. And it's about the friendship between Jonathan Toomey and this boy that he eventually kind of takes in as a semi-apprentice, not officially, but he teaches him how to carve. And yeah, it's a very sweet book. I can't really say too much about it, honestly, just because, 1, it's been a while since I read it, and 2, since it's a short little book, I don't want to spoil it. So yeah, if you ever want to read it, I would totally recommend it. Number 8, Sleigh Ride. Which character would you choose to spend the holidays with? Doesn't have to be a love interest. I had a few options for this one. I was thinking about Bod from the Graveyard Book. He is amazing, and I think he would be a really fun person to spend time with, but I ultimately decided to go with Lucy from Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe again. I just think she would be a really nice person to hang around with, especially at Christmas time. She's just so kind and lovely, and also quite fun-loving, so I think she'd be a nice person to hang out with. And number 9 is, which book that you didn't like would you sacrifice to a fire to warm yourself up in the cold? There's 2 answers to this. One of them I've mentioned before, which is Robinson Crusoe. I do not enjoy that book, but I'm gonna go with the other book or play in this case, that I really hate, and that is Taming of the Shrew by William Shakespeare. It's the only one of Shakespeare's plays that I've read that I legitimately hate. I'm not saying it's a bad play, I just really don't like it. I find it to be kind of sexist, I find it to be frustrating, I feel horrible for Katerina, the entire play. So if I had to burn a book to keep myself warm, it would be Taming of the Shrew. And last but not least, number 10, Do You Hear What I Hear? What book do you think everyone should read? Now, The Hobbit is the fiction book that I would go with. I absolutely adore this book. I've done videos about it before, and I undoubtedly will again, so I'm not going to say too much here, but I really love this book. However, I ultimately have to go with the Bible. This book, it touches you in ways that you wouldn't anticipate, and it is a love letter from our Creator, God. Even if you don't believe in God or Christianity, I do think you can get something out of this. If nothing else, you can hear what it has to say. Thank you for watching, you guys. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to let me know. What books would you guys recommend under these, and which of these songs is your favorite Christmas carol? I'd be happy to talk to you about that. Anyway, have a good rest of your day and a wonderful December. Merry Christmas. See you later. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You have termites in your smile. Da 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 da. It's going through my head now.